Hi everyone. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the details are in our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video before we dive in. Thank you so much for being here. What we're about to talk about has sent ripples through the entertainment world, because it brought a very private moment into public conversation, and it concerns two names everyone has been following closely, Yağmur Yüksel and Baris Baktaş. According to multiple people who were present on set, a tense rehearsal spiraled into something no one expected. It didn't happen during the official take, so there's no footage, no cameras were rolling, no boom over her head, no slate to mark the moment, but it happened, and those who saw it can't stop replaying the scene in their minds. As the rehearsal pushed toward its emotional peak, something in Yağmur gave way. Her focus, usually laser-sharp, blurred at the edges. A line was missed, then another. Witnesses say her breathing quickened, her hands trembled, and in an instant the quiet strain everyone had sensed around her turned into a sudden, raw outburst. Crew members tried to intervene gently at first. A makeup artist stepped back with a whisper of reassurance, a lighting tech lowered his voice, a supporting actor reached out with a steadying hand. But the room tightened. The air was already heavy from the stakes of the day, and the scene they were rehearsing had demanded that Yağmur sift through anger, grief, and resignation in a single uninterrupted flow. It looked like she managed that emotional swing flawlessly for hours, until she couldn't anymore. Some who know her well had suspected the pressure had been stacking up for days, maybe weeks. The schedule had left little space for the exhale, and when the dam cracked, it didn't negotiate. It was in that fragile span that Baris Baktaş noticed. He had been standing just outside the mark, close enough to catch the shift in her voice, close enough to see her eyes glaze with panic rather than performance. Those on set say he didn't hesitate. He moved straight toward her, quiet but firm, speaking to her in the low, steady tone he uses when the noise of the day needs a single anchor. He guided her out of the heat of the lights, away from the circle of anxious faces, and took her to the car. No grand gestures, no theatrics, just purpose. They went directly to the hospital. We're told by people close to the production that the medical team identified what happened as a brief panic attack. The diagnosis was clear, and the update came quickly: she was stable. That word, stable, echoed all the way back to the set, because everyone there was still frozen in the moment they had just witnessed. A wardrobe assistant summed up the mood in a quivering voice, saying, "The cameras weren't rolling, but we saw everything." Seeing Yağmur like that, it shook us. Another crew member said that, even after the news that she was okay, the silence in the studio lingered like a held breath. What makes this story hit so hard is the contrast. We're used to seeing Yağmur Yüksel as a model of control, delivering heavy scenes with precision, moving through press days with a gracious smile and unflappable calm. That image is part of why audiences love her and part of why she holds herself to such a punishing standard. People close to the production quietly admit that this latest role demanded more than usual, a kind of continuous emotional excavation that would leave anyone raw. When fatigue and expectation collide with that level of intensity, even the strongest can teeter. And then there's Baris. The way he stepped in will be talked about for a long time, not because it was dramatic, but because it was tender and decisive. He has always carried a protector's presence around her. Fans pick up on it at events, cameras catch it in candid shots, and the industry circles know their bond is more than publicity. When someone you care about unravels, the first response reveals everything. His was to act, to soften the room, to get her to safety. That quiet determination is now the center of 1,000 social media threads. Within minutes of the first whispers reaching the outside world, fans began flooding their timelines with support. Messages poured in for both of them, asking for privacy, granting compassion, and praising the way Baris handled the moment. People shared their own stories of anxiety and burnout, voicing how seeing someone as visibly strong as Yağmur struggle made them feel less alone. By midnight, trending tags had formed without any official push, and countless edits honoring the couple's resilience were circulating. Clips of their past interviews, photos of them at premieres, and soft-spoken commentary about love showing up when it counts. Agents and publicists rarely sleep on nights like this, and by morning, representatives for Yağmur Yüksel released a measured statement. She was okay, she would be resting for a few days, and work would adapt around her recovery. No sensationalism, no denial, just a realistic plan to pause, breathe, and reset. That statement cooled the panic but didn't mute the conversation. In fact, it seemed to mature it. The narrative shifted from shock to understanding, and the industry began reflecting on the invisible weight carried by those who spend their days performing pain. Still, the details keep circling back to the beginning. Crew members recall how ordinary everything felt right before it didn't. They say the rehearsal had been intense but standard, the kind of day that demands discipline and then rewards it with the satisfaction of nailing a scene. The turning point was quiet. A missed cue, the slightest delay, someone calling for another take. Then the fracture. A voice cracking on a line, a hand clutching a prop too tightly, a step backward as if the floor had shifted. The panic didn't roar in, it flickered, caught, and then spread. A few people noticed tears gathering faster than breathing could keep up. Another saw the jolt of anger that often masks fear. And then everyone moved. One assistant director explained that in situations like this, there is a choreography everyone silently understands: clear the space, speak softly, dim the lights, steady the room. But this time, the gravity was heavier. She wasn't responding to usual reassurances, and the scene at hand had demanded she live inside an emotion that consumes even the strongest when it's no longer pretend. That's when Baris took over, kneeling to her eye line, reminding her where she was, who she was with, and that she didn't have to keep performing. He led her out. People saw it, and they'll remember it. At the hospital, after the checks and the signature questions, the result was as humane as it was clinical: a brief panic attack, stress-induced, treated promptly. Stable. Expected to recover fully with rest. Those words, repeated to the team, loosened the tension gripping the crew. A grip man said quietly, "We're not used to seeing her like that, we're truly shocked." Another added, "It changes you when the illusion breaks. You realize they're human. We all are." The production paused, not as a show of discipline, but as a show of care. By afternoon, reporters were already speculating about what this meant, not for ratings, but for reality. Working at this level can turn days into sprints you never finish, and the body keeps the score. The industry has seen moments like this before, but each time, it feels personal, because the faces are familiar and the facade is convincing. The chatter now is less about scandal and more about sustainability. How do you carry the emotional weight needed to tell a story without letting it crush the person telling it? The whispers predict that the couple will make a joint statement, perhaps even address the intensity of the role, the schedule adjustments, and the boundary between art and well-being. That anticipated moment is already drawing a crowd of attention. Meanwhile, the set is a quieter place. Lights are still, marks taped but unused, the wardrobe racks undisturbed. People talk softly in corners, exchanging the glances of those who've shared a frightening incident and are still processing it. They say that sometimes the most shocking events are the ones no camera catches. Without the lens, there's no retake, no framing, no soundtrack to smooth what's jagged. There's just the truth of a human being who reached their limit, and another who recognized it in time to help. If there's a silver thread here, it's the way fans and colleagues have responded, with empathy over curiosity, with patience over pressure. The wave of goodwill aimed at Yağmur and Baris suggests the audience understands that performers are not machines, that resilience is not invincibility, and that vulnerability can be a chapter in a love story just as much as triumph. Yes, the headlines arrived like a thunderclap, and yes, the buzz will hum for a while, but beneath it all is a lesson: even stars need time away from the glare. As night fell, more measured updates came through. She was resting, the doctors were satisfied, and plans were in motion to give her the space she needs. Friends sent flowers and texts. Crew messages stacked up with hearts and gentle humor. And somewhere away from the set, away from the pressure, Baris and Yağmur found quiet. The next time we see them, it might be side by side in front of cameras, sharing what they've learned. Or it might be later, when the story has softened at the edges. Either way, what remains is simple: she is okay, he showed up, and together they're navigating what comes next. This is where we'll leave it for now. We'll keep following the story and bring you verified updates as they arrive. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to Secrets Behind the Stars and share it with a friend who follows their journey. Take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye.